Well, welcome everybody to the Creator Dashboard. It is day 3 of PAX and we are doing creator interviews, sharing the knowledge between everybody. And I'm here with Hanaki. And we're going to be talking a little bit, something quite niche and I found quite interesting is education through content creation. And more specifically, language. So Hanaki, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a JRPG variety content creator, mostly on Twitch, but I do stuff for YouTube as well. And I teach Japanese through gaming. So what that entails is I'll play games. So I play games with Japanese voiceover and the English subtitles. So I can process the information that I'm hearing through the voiceover and compare it to the translation and the subtitles. And if there's any gaps or any discrepancies, I'm not trying to attack the translators because it's a very difficult job, but I try to explain where the gap comes from and maybe provide a bit more, cultural or, cultural context to the translation and try, share my knowledge with everyone because I did grow up in Japan. I do speak Japanese and it's one of my many degrees among education and teaching. Okay,
so that was going to be my next question is how you got into doing this. So obviously you grew up in Japan, so quite fluent in Japanese.
Yeah, pretty good. Yep. I like to say.
Very good. My Japanese is very scratchy, but I'm not going to try anything because I'll butcher it. It won't make any sense on the spot. Anyway, so I guess what kind of made you think about doing this type of content specifically?
So as a teacher, I used to work in both classrooms and both one-on-one, and I've never found two students with the same learning style. And I find, especially with a lot of people I know, a lot of like my siblings and my family and friends getting diagnosed with ADHD and it kind of having this real awakening moment. That's why I struggled with book learning or, classroom learning. And I thought, well, we've got very little time in our lives. Games are so accessible and such a great resource and great way for us to, relax. Why can't we make that a beautiful experience to actually, learn something and take skills with us to the future? So I kind of just very self-indulgent, streaming games that I like, which is JRPGs, Final Fantasy, Persona, Yakuza. And then I found people were starting to ask me questions and I found live streaming a great way to have like Q&A sessions to, tell people things that I was hearing that, my students might not have known when I was a teacher. So it just really came from trying to find an alternative, more accessible way for people to actually engage with something they want to do. Because I've heard so many people say, I want to learn Japanese, but I just never get the time. Well, maybe gaming is one way you can kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Get some rest and actually have some fun too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And especially because Japan is a bit of the center of a lot of gaming. So there's probably a lot of content for you to work with there, and a lot of things that you can kind of translate. And especially with games like the Yakuza series, where although it is quite fictional, I find they try to recreate Japan pretty closely in a lot of the games. I don't know how 100% accurate it is, but last time I played Yakuza, I felt like I was walking through the streets of Tokyo again. So it's quite good. So how have you found the engagement? So obviously a lot of people are getting involved. Yeah, do you find people engage quite a lot with it? How did you find it at the start compared to how it is now?
I think how do I phrase this? I think a lot of the time people don't know what to ask when they don't know a language. Some people at an intermediate level will pick up things and they'll know where they're not understanding something and they'll ask. But a lot of beginners have no idea where to start. So I feel like my trouble is that I'm trying to find things actively as, on the fly to teach people, whether it's a word, whether it's a phrase that I think is really common or useful. So I think that's my biggest challenge is trying to find what sort of things people should or would want to know, because I don't get a lot of people asking, even though I definitely, always just, if you have a question, just come and ask me.
Yeah.
I'll always say it.
Yeah.
I think that is so far my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to really find not only a lot of good indie games coming out lately, but also kind of create more permanent short form, long form content that people can just go to and refer to, and I sort of give a spiel, like top 10 game words to know through the Yakuza series is an example.
Okay, yeah, it's a good one. Okay, it's a very interesting, like what you've kind of done is essentially taking like ideas from different places and kind of slammed it together, and I think that makes for very interesting and unique content, which is something, I guess is a good way to think about it, even if it's not just like about one language or Japanese, it could be any language in any game. I think it's a good way to kind of slap it and come up with more original content. How do you translate this content through to YouTube?
So I'm currently working on a series, like I said, learning words through the Yakuza series, or words you should know. So, like you said, Yakuza, it's set in Japan. You actually walk through the actual streets of Kabukicho. In the game, it's called Kamurocho. So there are actually a lot of real life elements in the game, despite its
There's a lot of glaring fiction in it.
There's a lot of glaring fiction, yes. But it's a context, where there's going to be some things where you won't necessarily understand what they mean unless you know Japanese or you've been in Japan. So I'm just trying to make the cultural and the linguistic aspects more accessible to the Western and foreign audiences.
Fantastic, cool, sweet. So when did you first start doing this kind of content?
Actually, quite recently, I kind of got into streaming. Off the cuff. My sister just went, "If you play as much games as you do, why don't you just stream it?" And it kind of snowballed from there. I kind of got people interested in my background that I would just share, and then I just sort of thought, I've got this. I really enjoy streaming. I love engaging with community and other gamers. How can I, bring what makes me unique, because everyone has something they can bring to the table. What have I got that can be a value add to the internet out there? And I just thought, I don't think I know many other, if I can say, foreigners who grew up in Japan at the age that I did, and that's a really unique experience. And I just try to share where that started me in my life with JRPGs in Japanese and where it's taken me.
Well, that's some pretty sound advice there. So if you're struggling to find find your content or find your angle, I guess identify what makes you unique, identify your story and your background, because everyone's got something different to share, and then work out how you can, I guess essentially, and this is something I've always comes back to, work out how you can help people. And your way of helping people is by teaching them Japanese and
absolutely
enlightening them in the cultural differences and stuff like that. And I find that quite interesting. I always love the difference I love Japanese culture, and I love the little nuances and differences and how it all works over there. And I think it's really cool, and I think it's really cool what you're doing. So
thank you.
Keep it all up. So, what's one piece of advice you'd give to a creator if they were going down the same kind of journey?
Same kind of journey? I think building on what you said, find your niche, find what makes you unique, and also find what you love. There's so many great JRPG series out there, from Tales of Mana, which I've not played, Persona, which I'm a big fan of. There's so much out there. Find what you love and just really cultivate other people who love it. And start from there. That's, I think, the most important. So if you enjoy something, people are going to notice that. They're going to pick up on it, and it's going to make them more interested in what you have to say.
That's fantastic. And because we are on a learning journey, what is one thing that you'd like to learn more about?
One thing I'd like to learn more about as a creator personally?
What creator specific? I mean, it could be more open.
Just in life?
Could be more broad, yeah.
That's a tough one. I think I recently held my first workshop on this topic at a convention, Pixel Expo in WA, which was a really amazing experience. But I think one thing I'd like to learn more and build my skills is trying to make those those kind of group sessions more interactive. I think that's a really fun experience. It's one thing I really enjoy in what I do. Just kind of getting people to share their, inviting people to share their stories and what they're interested in as well.
Fantastic. All right, awesome. Well, Hanaki, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's really good. Go check out their YouTube channel and Twitch channel. Is it just Hanaki on Twitch?
So it's Hanaki_XIV, because I'm a huge Final Fantasy 14 fan, on every platform, from Twitch to YouTube to Instagram, all that nonsense.
All right, go ahead and check them out. Check out their content and what they're doing there. Hopefully it can inspire you to create your own kind of content. And if you have enjoyed this, you've gotten some information from it, give it a thumbs up and like and subscribe to the Creator Dashboard for more content creator insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.